Come Jan, the Ram temple, Ram Mandir is going to be inaugurated. Do you think that's going to play a big factor for 24? And more importantly, how would you ask Muslims to accept it without feeling sour about what happened?
I think Muslims have accepted it. They've accepted the judgment. They all always said, along with many other people, that if we can come together and settle this matter, we will settle it. Some, of course, they were outliers as well. Others, after the judgment came in the Supreme Court, said, well, we are not entirely happy, but we'll accept it because there is nothing beyond the Supreme Court in this country. And we've got a mosque. Now, if the Muslims were keen, or particular sections or segments of Muslims were keen to work on the mosque, they should have worked on the mosque. But there are only a limited number of people associated with the Waqf board that are working on that mosque. But it could be a grand, splendid mosque which would shame any other effort in the world. They could have been there. Would that be the right message for this country?
Sure.
Or continuing to say, we were deprived, we were denied, we are in distress, etc., is the answer for this country?
Right. So, since we're short on time, a final question, as you were the External Affairs Minister, the Congress's stance on the Israel-Hamas war. The Congress has outrightly spoken for the people of Palestine. There's no word of condemnation that's come in on the Hamas attack, though. Also around the same issue, there's been growing Islamophobia. We're seeing effects of it and ramifications even here in India. Lots of Muslims coming out, holding rallies in favor of Palestine. They're being condemned. So there is a certain ripple effect that also now centers around India.
Yeah.
Your take on that?
Let me just put it in context. Nobody, absolutely nobody in India or anywhere in the world has condoned what happened on 7th of October. They may be, you can reject it and you can castigate it by saying it is unacceptable. Or you can castigate it by saying this is an act of a terrorist, right? Now, the UN has not said this is an act of a terrorist because the UN hasn't yet been able to come to a definition of what a terrorist is. United States has, and therefore they've been able to use that word.
Yeah.
We have rejected, and if you find Mrs. Gandhi's own article that was written in the Hindu, where she has said our immediate reaction was this is unacceptable. Such an act of terrorism is unacceptable. But, as the Secretary General of the UN said, at the end of the day, you don't just condemn it and sit down and do nothing. Because every day you see a theater of war getting more and more horrible. So what is the priority today is to say, stop this immediately. Let's stop and begin talking. And there are many countries who are unprepared to say, let's stop this. Let's stop this. What is it being called? It's being called collective punishment. We see children, women, people destroyed every day.
Yeah.
What is our position on Palestine? Mahatma Gandhi set it for us. Our position on Palestine, which, by the way, also is compatible with our position as far as POK is concerned. If you march into my home and take my property, I have a right to protest.
Right.
Palestine was the property of Palestinians, taken away from them and given to Israelis. We didn't participate in it, we didn't support it. We said Palestine has a right to a homeland.
Yeah.
But of course, you have to be pragmatic. Israel had happened, Arabs accepted Israel, we made a relationship with Israel. So we finally supported the two-state solution. Both states live in peace and prosperity and safety together. That's all we ask for. Now, people want to know, what about 7th October?
Yeah, I mean, and for the only reason I asked that, because we see several pro-Palestine rallies, where even in Kerala, for example, one of the Hamas organizers or the former leaders of Hamas was, he was invited for a session to speak.
Forget the Hamas. Was Arafat friend of India or not? Was Arafat a terrorist? I mean, Arafat was treated as a freedom fighter. Our relationship with the PLO and with the Palestinian Authority remains. We have not accepted violence from one side. we are not accepting violence from the other side.
Right.
Is it not enough to say, both of you must stop the violence? Who's more responsible, who's less responsible, we will talk about later. First, bring an end to this violence. There's a beautiful sher which goes something like this. Tu idhar udhar ki na baat kar, ye bata ke kafle kyun lute, hame rehzanon se gharaz nahi, teri rehbari ka sawal hai. There's a democracy involved in Israel and they must answer.
Lovely. I think on that note, it's a wrap. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Very kind. Thank you very much.
Enriching conversation there. Salman Khurshid, a big round of applause, please.